Hey artists, in this video we're going to talk about our Yin-Yang symbol art project. We're going to use a cardboard circle tracer. You're going to put the cardboard circle tracer on the paper and you're going to hold it down with your non-dominant hand. I chose to use a 4H pencil so that the line would be nice and light in case I needed to erase it, and I'm going to carefully trace around my circle stencil. Once I'm done with that, I can pass it to somebody else to trace. The next thing that we need to do is draw our name in the corner so that we don't lose it. Then we're going to make the backward S in the middle of the yin-yang symbol, so it helps if you draw it with your finger first and then use the pencil. You might want to make 3 dots to help you evenly guide out your yin-yang symbol. So backwards, parenthesis, backwards letter C for the top half, and then use your pencil to sketch in the line so that way you can erase it if you need to change it. The same thing from the bottom half does kind of look like a letter C, so you're going to go from the top and curved line to the bottom. So that is my line, and if I needed to smooth it out, I can go over it one more time to make that backwards S for my yin-yang symbol. Then I'm going to add 2 more circles to complete the symbol. These I can draw by hand, or if you really want a stencil, I can give you a stencil. But I just freehand drew them. Then you want to get a Sharpie marker so that you can go over your lines and make them nice and clear. I used a fine tip Sharpie, but you might want to use just the regular Sharpie marker at the fine point. So go carefully while you're using the Sharpie marker because this is a big shape. So go slowly, and if you need to pick up the marker, just try and line it up back in the same spot. Really take your time to do this so that your craftsmanship looks great. So with the Sharpie marker, you also want to trace the shape through the middle. Do it carefully, go slow. And then I finished the right half of the shape, going up very slowly and carefully. Really take your time to do this neatly. Don't rush through this part. Then trace those 2 circles that we drew to complete our yin-yang symbol. Make sure that your name is in the corner of the paper. If it helps to go over it with Sharpie, do that too. Alright, so once you've finished, you're going to design 1/2 with a black Sharpie marker. For my design, I just wrote my name over and over on the inside. I wrote it kind of small so that it looks like a little bit of a pattern, but you can do any type of lines and details on that one side. So if you want to be above and beyond, I have mandala books that you can look at for some designs and some different Zentangle books that you can look at to get inspired for your designs. This is the part where you really get to show your personality and the things that you're interested in. So you don't have to write your name over and over again, but if you want to practice writing your name in cursive over and over again, that might be a great design for your work. You could also doodle or draw other things inside, but it should be done with a black marker only. In the other side, make sure you fill in the circle. Once you're done with this, we're going to add color to the other side. We're going to use bleeding tissue paper. You also are going to need a cup of water and a paintbrush. I'm using a 1-inch wide flat paintbrush. Now, when I'm painting the water, I'm very careful to stay only inside of that one white shape. And then I'm using the tissue papers to stick it down where the water is applied. So wet the paper, then stick the tissue down. If the tissue isn't sticking down, you can add more water on top, but it's important that the paper is wet when you put the tissue paper down so that it will stick. Stick to a color scheme of 2 or 3 or 4 colors so that way your design is cohesive. If you want to do rainbow, maybe you want to do them in order, but I like this design when you stick to a color scheme because it winds up looking like an abstract tie-dye. So as you're going, you might want to be layering the pieces over each other just a little bit. If you need to add more water, dab the brush on top of the tissue paper. Don't try and rub it or move it around. You want the tissue paper to be flat and not crumpled. We're not putting a big stack of tissue paper on, one piece at a time. Try and make sure your hands are dry when you reach inside of the bin. At the end, you might start realizing that you need a little bit more water, so dab some more water on the areas that look dry. If you need to rip the tissue paper to fit it into the smaller gaps, you should do that. Do not peel the tissue paper off of your project. You need to leave your tissue paper on until the next class so that it is completely dry. I can't wait to see what you create for this project.